Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Shape the World, and we have a very special session today. Today is the unveiling and the launch of something called Goodwill Vows. The idea is that philanthropy is not about wealth, it's about generosity. And Goodwill Vows makes this possible. You don't have to wait to be rich to give. You can signal your intention anytime, regardless of your age, your wealth, your background, obviously your race, and you can be an individual or an organization. Philanthropy is about generosity, and this is what Goodwill Vows is about. So welcome. For this special conversation, we are joined by Asheesh Advani, who is the president and CEO of JA Worldwide. You can see him on the screen. Asheesh, you can say hello.
Hi, everyone.
All right. Asheesh is and JA Worldwide are founding partners and flagship partners of Goodwill Vows, but it's actually deeper than that. So they're way inside the kitchen. I mean, honestly, this is something where partners usually come after you've made the meal, and they come and they maybe help you make it better, help you build a restaurant. How about a partner who helps you write the recipe? And that's what JA Worldwide has been. So Asheesh, big welcome to you. Everybody, this is going to be a fireside conversation. So we want to hear your views. The way we want to run this is Asheesh and I will share some thoughts up front about why we think this is special and why we spend so much time writing the recipe and making the meal and why today is special. And then we want to hear from you. So if you have a question, please use the Q&A button in the middle. Standard Shape the World rules. If you have a shout out or a comment, you can use the chat and we'll see it. Okay? All right. Let's get cracking. So Asheesh, maybe just to kind of warm up the room. This has been an idea that's been cooking for some time. And we just love to hear from you. Why is this idea important to you?
Sure. First of all, it's such a pleasure to be here. It's so good to be able to chat with you and to share our perspectives with so many people from around the world. I will say the idea for what's now called Goodwill Vows has been percolating through many conversations that you and I have had, and I'm sure ones that you've had with many other people. Like all good ideas, I think they keep evolving over time and get refined and get co-created. So I think what excites at least me to be part of being in the kitchen while the idea is being sort of nurtured and baked is because it really has evolved and it really has changed. So what originally motivated me to get involved with this was something I observed, which is particularly for organizations like JA that serve young people. We often feel that we reach young people at a time in their lives when their mindset is being impacted, their teenage years, and even just after they've graduated high school. That's when their mind is being sort of formed and they're thinking of what's possible for themselves. And they come to us and they say, oh, this was such an impactful program. This was such an impactful experience. One day I'd like to really support this organization so we can pay it forward and do this for others. And we often just sort of are happy and smile and shake hands and forget about that interaction. But if there were some way for the young people that we serve to actually say, I vow to support others with the same thing that I got, it could be very powerful at that moment in time. So that's the original, at least from my perspective, motivation. Since then, what I've learned is there's so many other organizations that have the same challenge as ours that actually want to enable people who might not be very wealthy but are very generous and have benefited from the services that the organization has provided to be able to make a vow, a pledge to say, I will support either this organization or others like it, as I get older, as something good happens in my life, or as something changes in the course of my ability to support others.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. this is a fireside conversation. So if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A so that we're all talking together. Yawa, thank you for that shout out. Yawa says philanthropy is not about wealth, it's about generosity. I love this. I'm quoting Yawa. Thank you very much, Yawa. Please give us some questions so that this is an interaction. So Ashish has just shared why this was powerful for him. I would say that for me, definitely the conversations with Ashish made this spark and made me think about this. And why it stuck with me is this: we all hear growing up people saying, when I'm rich, I will. We all hear people saying, oh my God, you know, if this thing works out, I will do that. And it's quite rare that there's something so pervasive that doesn't actually already have a solution that's mainstream. That's a bit like people saying, I would really like sliced bread, and there's no sliced bread. so like, that's so bizarre. But whether you're primary school, high school, uni, you hear this all the time. And I guess, Ashish, in your world, working with entrepreneurs, you hear this a lot. I know because I started my career as an accountant, and I worked in finance. And in finance, finance is full of people who have plans for when they're rich. Doesn't matter if it's the trainee or the CFO, everybody has plans for when they're rich. And everyone talks about when they're going to retire. So listening to this, you think, wow, it is true that people can be generous before they're rich. It is true that if you design this in a careful way, you can make it cost-free for people to express that generosity. If you design this in a careful way, you can actually make it reinforcing for people to be generous. And like you said, this baby has evolved. What you have today is not where it started. So I just love that it's checked these boxes. And I think what appealed to me was the fact that it could touch so many lives, the fact that it could solve a problem that was pervasive, and the fact that I think something Ashish and I have in common is we like to get things done. So, I mean, yes, you talk about things with lots of people, but when you're having a conversation with Ashish, you know it's going to move to action. So I'm like, we're not wasting time here. This is good. Right? Let's keep talking. So that's big for me. And so I love this. And I don't know if people on here have already seen the site. I guess many of you here are close followers, so you have. But in case you haven't, Rodrigo, if you can please share the link to the site. I'm not sure if Ingekfua has seen the site yet, for example. If you want the password, just say so, and we'll share the password, and you can check out the site. Now, guys, please post questions so that this is a conversation between us. I've just shared why this was important to us, but I really want us to interact. So I'm checking the chat. Rosalind says, this is beautiful. Thank you for championing this. You don't need to be rich to make an impact or contribute. Thank you, Rosalind. Rodrigo has just shared the link, so please check out the site. And if you have any questions at all, so for example, did you know that we don't touch any of the money you donate? So when you make a vow, this site, UPG, we don't touch your money, right? Your money goes straight to who you're committing it to. This site just acts, if you like, in a trustee capacity for your vow. This site says, hey, Rodrigo's made a vow, and we let people know that Rodrigo's made a vow. And Rodrigo's honored his vow, we let people know Rodrigo's honored his vow. All right, if you have any other questions, now let me look at the Q&A. Elizabeth is asking, can I make a vow to any organization or just JA and UP? Nice question. It's so funny. Ashish is so much in the kitchen. Like, he can probably answer all of these questions. Should we do a test to see if there's any questions you can't answer? Ashish, you want to take the first one?
Sure. Well, the great news is this is designed from the very beginning to be open to any organization in the world, any nonprofit in the world can be a beneficiary organization and join as a partner. And we've already, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the team from UPG has picked the top 100 NGOs as a starting point. And there's a few others who've already raised their hand who've already become partners and sort of joined as well as beneficiaries. So this is a growing movement, and I anticipate we'll have hundreds of nonprofits. And if you see one that you don't see on the list right now, I believe the UPG is looking for you to actually specifically add 5, right? What's the plan on that, Yemi, the 5?
So we'd love people to, I mean, Ashish is correct, you can donate to any NGO. And the good news is, even if they are not on the site, you can also donate to them. Just specify who they are. We have a vow process that will go check them out, make sure they're real before your vow is officially on the site. Oh, the 5 you're referring to. Yes, there's a giveaway today. So if you're in the room, I'm almost afraid to highlight this because you might want to close the doors. There's a giveaway today. So being listed on the site is free, but being featured is something that charge people beyond the beta version. So at a later stage. So today, we're actually giving away 5 features for free. So Rodrigo is going to tell us how the raffle is going to work. And 5 lucky people are going to pick an NGO they care about that gets not just listed, but featured for free. So we think that's a big deal. You can call it an early bird special. And Rodrigo, you give me a hint as to when you want to do it. But that's the 5 that Ashish was referring to. All right, let's take the next question. Yeah? Rodrigo, you want to come in now?
No, I already found the 2. So we are going to raffle numbers. So let's wait for the last 10 minutes of the call. We pick those 5 numbers and I read the names of each number. Okay?
Beautiful.
So stick with us on the call.
Yeah, stay with us. So early bird, you get the opportunity, but Rodrigo wants to keep you here to the end. So stick around. Let's take the next question. We're playing a small game to see if there's any question that Ashish cannot answer. I'm happy to put money on the fact that there's none, but let's see how it goes. All right, so next question I want. Adana is asking, is there a specific amount of money required to make a vow? Ashish?
Well, in fact, I believe this is designed from the very beginning to be open to all amounts of money. So even if it's a very small amount, there's really no there's no designed average or no designed minimum or maximum. I'm sure, practically speaking, I'm guessing we have a very, very small minimum. Is that right, Rodrigo or Yemi?
We have received vows of $5 already. People who will make 1 donation of $5 and people who will give $5 each month. That's an option also.
But correct me if I'm wrong. It's not a minimum.
Not a minimum. Not a minimum.
We don't have a minimum. Now, again, this is early bird access. So if you think we should have a minimum, tell us. We're listening. If, the experience we have suggests we need a minimum, we'll do one. But we are listening. So thank you. All right, next question. Rosalind wants to know, how does Goodwill Vows ensure that the contributions are put to the use, I guess, that was vowed for? Great question, Rosalind.
Sure, I can take that one for sure. Yeah, so this is designed to solve the problem that many nonprofit organizations have in the world, which is it's so difficult to raise money which is unrestricted. So capacity funding that actually enables the organization to survive. So the vow process is designed to enable organizations to have access to funds that are actually for the mission of the organization, not specified by the donor. Most organizations raise money which is restricted. So the donor says you can only use it for this project or that project. This is designed to be as unrestricted as possible. So that's, I think, the problem we're trying to solve in the world. Yemi, have I answered it right, or maybe I've missed something?
I think you're spot on. I'm just wondering if there's another angle to the question, which might be, what if people misuse the funds?
Sure. I mean, I think the misuse of funds, thankfully, there's all these safeguards which boards have to ensure that the funds which are unrestricted or restricted are used well. In fact, your audit covers that specifically. So all the ratios, for example, that you have to cover to enable you to be regulated as a nonprofit vary by country, but that exists in the infrastructure of well-governed nonprofit organizations. So pick your nonprofit organization carefully, make sure they have a board of directors that's overseeing the way that funds are used. But this is designed, I think, to really enable unrestricted funds to be able to reach organizations that need it most.
And I hope that helps, Rosalind. Great question. Thank you very much, Asheesh. All right, another question. Armando wants to know, this sounds like a New Year's resolution that I never complete. Please elaborate on how this is different. Armando, we love the tongue-in-cheek in your question. Asheesh, you want it?
Well, I think at least what I've heard from the team is the team at UPG has come up with some great badges, which is one mechanism for actually rewarding great behavior when you keep your resolution. And of course, if you don't keep your resolution, you don't get the badge, you don't get the recognition, you don't really get the fulfillment of having a vow and completing it. And so I think we're looking for some great ideas, and the team I know is to see what we can do even beyond the badging. I know in my past organizations that I've worked with, we've come up with some really great incentive systems to ensure a balance between commitments people make and how to reward them when they actually fulfill the commitment. So we're looking for some great ideas.
Brilliant, thank you. And I think that's nicely connected to Brandy's question, where Brandy says, Yemi and Asheesh, if I make a pledge, how will I be recognized? So I think that's connected to Ashish's response, if you wanted to expand on that. But before Asheesh does, please post more questions so that we can continue the interaction. If you have any questions at all, or you think somebody else might and they're not asking, please do post the question. Thank you. Asheesh, did you want to expand to cover Brandy's question? Or you think we're good?
Sure. Well, I think I've covered a bit of it, but I'd love to hear your vision for badging because it's still early days, and there, you know, I'm really eager to hear your ideas around this.
Okay, so when you make a vow and it's validated, you get a badge that says vow made. It's a journey. Anything can happen. So yes, Armando, you could forget, but if vow isn't due yet. So the next badge you're going to get is one that says your vow is due. So maybe you say, I'm going to fulfill this vow in 6 months. So it's just time passing. Or maybe you said, I'm going to fulfill this vow. You know, maybe I'm a young footballer and my vow is when I sign with my first club, I'm going to donate X amount of money. So, hey, I signed my first contract and so my vow is due. So the website, your badge on the side is to say your vow is due. That's part of the journey. Now, Armando, you can't forget because when your vow is due, we'll let you you'll remember. And so that's part of the journey. Now, hopefully you remember, Armando, and then you fulfill your vow. And if you do so, the journey continues. Your badge evolves to vow fulfilled. By the way, if you haven't seen the badges, they're beautiful. You get a crown when you fulfill your badge. And so we think that's awesome. Now, obviously, if we remind you and you still don't want to fulfill your vow, then your vow is broken. And so the badge evolves to say your vow was broken. And anybody who comes to our site or any site that hosts any vow, they'll see what happened to Armando's vow. Did he forget it or did he honor his word? Now, if you're a young footballer and you never signed that contract with the club, then guess what? Your vow is dissolved because it's no longer relevant. So no one's going to come knocking on your door and you don't lose any honor because the conditional event that you described just didn't happen. Okay, I hope that helps.
I think we should also say that this is designed a little bit like the 1% pledge that, you know, some of the wealthiest philanthropists in the world make. But what we're doing is we're really democratizing that and enabling anyone to, you know, get the same way to be recognized and way for their commitment to be honored. So, taking that very successful 1% pledge and democratizing it for the whole world is, I think, part of, at least my understanding of what we're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm just trying not to play the geek here because there's so many geek add-ons that we have built in. And if you don't ask the questions, we don't know how geeky you want us to be. So you need to ask the questions. All right, so another reason Armando cannot forget is because we have a system called vow trackers. And anybody, any human being can sign up and say, man, I'm going to track that vow. So if Armando shows up and says, I'm going to donate free meals to all the orphans in my neighborhood for the next 3 months. And I'm going to do this as soon as what's a good condition for Armando? It's a New Year's resolution. Yes, I'm going to do this next year. So Armando makes a New Year's resolution that he's going to do this next year. All right. And now somebody in the neighborhood says, this is amazing. I'm going to track that vow. You can sign up to track a vow. So UPG will remind you, and other people will remind you. Other people will flag that, hey, Armando, it's 2021. And the kids are waiting. Now, obviously, that's just one use case for the vow trackers. There's many other ways the vow trackers can help us, because some vows could be sophisticated. For example, you can imagine a vow related to technology or farming. These could be things where you require expert knowledge. So vow trackers could be people who say, you know what, that looks like a good idea, but I bet you they need my help. I'm going to sign up to track that vow. And so there's many ways that this ecosystem actually allows many people to participate. Because Ashish was talking about how we democratize the 1%, the giving pledge for the 1%. This really works for the 99% in the sense that you can make a vow, you can receive a vow, you can track a vow, you can curate a vow, you can amplify a vow, right? So which means Armando makes a vow, you like it, and you simply share it on social media. By you sharing Armando's vow, you're doing your part. You're making sure your voice matters. And you're really making sure you're part of this ecosystem that amplifies vows. So yes, to Ashish's point, this democratizes that giving behavior in so many different ways. Now, we have more questions. Elizabeth asked, how do I get a badge when I fulfill my promise? Nice question. It appears on our site, but obviously when you fulfill your promise, it's a big deal. So we will send it to you. You'll get a link to our site so that you can show that badge anywhere you want to show it. You can show it on your site. You can show it on your social media. It's a big deal. So I hope that answers your question, Elizabeth. Adana has a question. Ashish, I'm coming to you for this one. Does the vower pick what organization their donation goes to? If yes, how do you ensure that some initiatives are not being ignored? All right. You want this, Ashish?
Yeah, sure. It's a great question. As the number of organizations grows on the site, right now we're at well over 100, but yes. If it gets to 10,000, I believe that this question is foreshadowing an issue, which is a usability issue for the site. So the site designers have to be able to rotate featured charities, be able to highlight particular causes, assuming, by the way, that some percentage of the site traffic comes to the site to shop and pick what they want. My hypothesis is many people will come knowing the organization that they actually want to support. That's my hypothesis, but I don't know. I think over time, as the traffic grows and as people hear about this website, you can imagine some percentage of people will come and actually want to compare and pick a cause as opposed to just an organization. So this is a great question and something which I think the site designers will have to really think through.
Great, thank you, Ashish. All right, Mom has a question. Have you considered any tax implications when the vow is redeemed? Can people get tax benefit or relief? That's a great question.
Sure.
Ashish, do you want it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the beauty of the way the site has been done by the developers is you aren't actually donating money to the website. You're donating money to the organization. You're effectively just making a pledge or a vow to do that in the future. So you will get the same tax benefit that you would normally get if you donate directly to the organization. So the tax issues are the same as they would normally be for any country you live in or wherever you're making the donation. And the good news is many, many more countries now have introduced tax benefits for donating, particularly during this crisis. I think there's some countries where they've actually introduced tax relief during this crisis to encourage more donations to civil society at this time.
Yeah, brilliant. And I have to say, it also made me wonder, although again, it made me wonder whether we could push for some kind of additional benefits for people who make vows. But then again, as Ashish pointed out, many countries are already being quite generous to people who make donations, and giving them breaks.
Yemi, I'm really impressed with your mom for asking this question. It's a very specific question, and it clearly shows that she's raised you well and has got you thinking about important things, Yemi. So,
thank you, Mom. Love you very much. And thank you. Yeah, Mom is she's got her finger on the button. Very, very clued in. Elizabeth is asking, will Goodwill Vows be keeping track of all vows to know when I have fulfilled it? Or is there a place I need to tell you when I have paid or donated? The answer to that is yes and yes. So that's the whole point of the service. We keep track of every vow. And yes, we will let you know how you tell us, because when you make a vow and it's validated, you're now in contact with the service. So we'll let you know how to tell us if maybe you fulfilled your vow before we expected. So yes and yes to your question. Okay, and also we have these vow trackers who democratize the whole keeping track process. So the system is designed to make sure there are lots of eyes on each vow. Elizabeth would like to know, is there a minimum age to make a vow? Ashish, I know you'd love this one.
That's a great question. I don't think the developers have thought through this yet, but I would say a lot of people have told us that they would like to get their families and kids to use this as a way to talk about philanthropy at a young age. That's something I don't think we anticipated. It's a fascinating, actually, use case of this website, because it's such an important thing to start early, to think about how to give back and how to actually be an agent in the choice of which organization and which cause you care about. It's something which kids really, I think, can get their mind around and gets them energized in a way that it is rare for families to have a discussion about this. So I can imagine that lowering the minimum age because of that trend, but we probably will have to put in some safeguards so we don't put people in harm's way. But I think it's a great question, and one which I think the development team has to confront head on.
Yes, that's true. We haven't set a minimum age. We definitely want to make sure no harm is done. So, the good news is a vow that's sent in doesn't automatically go on the site. Again, it gets curated. And so maybe at some point we don't want a 2-year-old making a vow before they can talk, that kind of stuff. But in all seriousness, we'll have to watch this as it progresses. One powerful example of what Ashish said, some of the feedback we got, one of UPG's board members, a gentleman called Amadou Makhtar Ba, he shared with us that in his culture, and he's Fulani from West Africa, Senegalese, and he shared that in his culture there's a saying that if you wait to be wealthy to share, then you will never share. And this for him is why he supports Goodwill Vows. So for him, he says it's about sharing. And you have to learn how to share early. You can't wait to be wealthy. And so he's one of those people who said to us that he's going to introduce Goodwill Vows to his children to help them to understand, to start taking early steps in social responsibility and also in philanthropy. And that was a real surprise, because that was the first time I heard it. We hadn't seen that angle. I think it's quite powerful. We are learning as we're moving along with this. All right, thank you. I see more questions, so love it. Thank you. And let me just check if there's any chats, because sometimes people have. Are there any chats we shouldn't be ignoring? All right. Mom says she agrees the vow should be open to what contributors can afford, so no minimum. Thank you. And young people will be encouraged to participate. Thank you. All right. So let's keep it flowing. Elizabeth, you said that making a vow is free. How does the site survive? All right, great question. And it allows us to also shine a light on JA Worldwide.
Well, before we shine a light, I think you've got to say something that's really important, which is rather than shining a light on us, I just wanted to say that the site is free to use and there's no fee on top of making the vows. And I think that's such an amazing thing. It's, you know, it's the spirit of what you've built here, and the UPG team and Rodrigo and others who've worked on this is very much like Wikipedia, right? It's really open and communicative and everyone's involved, and it's not designed to be supported by user fees. And that culture is so critical. So what it means is,
please go on.
Ahead.
What it means is
there's an opportunity for you know, grant-making organizations who really want to invest in philanthropy being global or philanthropy being democratized to support this initiative by funding UPG. So, you know, I'd encourage all the grant-making organizations to really look at this and say, this is something that could multiply a grant's value several times over. So a small grant to UPG could lead to hundreds of thousands of dollars for civil society around the world. And that's, I think, one of the more powerful things about this.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you very much, Ashish. It's very important to us that this is free. This is a service. And this is also why we are launching this on today. Today is the 23rd of June. It's the United Nations Day for International Public Service Day. So, as you know, public service is not the same thing as civil service. So you don't have to be in government to be a public servant. And so we definitely believe that a lot of NGOs are in the business of public service. And so a day like this shines a light on many organizations that are working to make the world better. And this service, Goodwill Vows, actually is a facility to help organizations continue to make the world a better place. So we've been quite focused on making sure this is free. It doesn't cost you anything to engage. Obviously, someone has to pay to keep the lights on. And so we do, as Ashish said, we rely on grants, partners, supporters. So JA Worldwide has stepped in as our first partner and a flagship partner too. So if you would just please join me in giving a virtual, you know, thank you and a big round of applause to JA Worldwide. Now, this service is also designed not to cost too much money. So we know we can keep the lights on with, you know, committed support. So we don't want anybody to be a partner. We actually want partners who believe in what this stands for and who also want to help move the needle. And JA Worldwide fits the bill in so many ways. So wonderful. Big thanks to you, Ashish, personally, and big thanks to the JA family. Because again, JA Worldwide has, you know, had people in the kitchen with us too. So thank you. All right, questions coming in. Where do we go? Let's see what Armando has for us this time. What are the factors that will determine which NGOs get more spotlight than others? This question is more for the philanthropist who doesn't have an NGO in mind when they come to the site. Great question. Okay, I can take this one. If you don't have an NGO in mind when you come to the site, now you're still on the beta version right now, but later on we're going to have a feature that allows you to, right there in the form, scan some NGOs that are suggested to you. But right now what you can do is literally swing over to the beneficiaries page and see who's there. So if you don't have someone in mind, the first thing that's going to actually help an NGO to get visible is to be on the site. It costs you nothing. Register on the site as a beneficiary. And it's listed in alphabetical order, so it's equal. The only another place where you could get more visibility is we have a section called NGOs we love. And this is the NGOs we love. So if you want to be in, well, hey, we need to love you. Or as we said, there's going to be a service where you can pay to be featured. It's probably the only thing that's paid on this site. You can pay to be featured, and you're either going to be in the NGOs we love section or in a featured beneficiary section. That's yet to be determined. These are some of the ways that will help your chances. Now, we also think that a philanthropist may ask, hey, that NGO looks good. UPG, do you know them? Now, we obviously will only tell the truth. So if a philanthropist says that NGO looks good, we'll either say, yes, we know them, that NGO is a champion with UPG, or yes, we know them, that NGO is a member, or yes, we know them, they've been registered on our site, and they've behaved in such and such way, or no, we don't. So if you want to influence your visibility odds, we do think getting in a community, participating, joining UPG, by the way, as an organization, an NGO, to be a member of UPG is free. So for us to get to know you, costs you nothing. But you start by registering to be a beneficiary on Goodwill Vows, the site. I hope this answers your question, Armando. All right, let's take a look. Rafaela wants to know, how much of an impact do you believe Goodwill Vows will have on the future of philanthropy? Nice question. Ashish.
Well, it's a great question because it really gets us dreaming and thinking of where this could go. Given that some of the people that Yemi is attracting to support this organization through testimonials and through partnerships, I have every belief that this could actually make a significant impact on the way that philanthropy is done, particularly for people who you don't necessarily think of as philanthropists. I think that's one of the most genius things about this initiative, is it really is for people who don't think of themselves as philanthropists. So I think this has the opportunity to expand the number of people who actually start to think of themselves that way. I think some people who donate money just think of themselves as generous, but they don't think of themselves as philanthropists. And that self-identification as somebody who actually is not just generous, but has engaged in philanthropy is such a powerful thing, that the mindset shift that can come from changing the way you think about yourself. I think that's one of the hidden benefits here, which actually could make a significant difference in the world.
I agree. And another powerful thing is there's some research done on the positive effect of giving. And some of that positive effect, people say, is maybe a chemical reaction in your body. Some of that is maybe a spiritual benefit from when you give. Just the thought that this can encourage more people to give in more meaningful ways. You know, you see the benefit on both sides. So whoever they're giving to gets the benefit. And on the other side, they will reap those rewards too. I think that's something I see that I'm excited about that's going to change. Something I'm also excited about, which Ashish has heard me say some time ago, but we haven't talked about it recently, is just this idea that when this young person is dreaming that when I get rich, I'm going to do X, Y, or Z, usually before you're rich, who you want to give to is a local organization, somebody who's having an impact in your neighborhood. Maybe that church or that community center where you went to after school every day that you know saved your life. But because you can't make a vow, very often, like Armando, you might forget. And so for many people, when they become rich, giving is a mixed affair. Yes, they want to give, but their corporate advisor will tell them, well, you have to give to this kind of organization so that you maybe get the right tax benefits, or that kind of organization so you have the right profile. So that's what they do. And very often they forget that local community center or that local charity that they really wanted to give to when they started out. So one of the ways I hope this will change things is people will remember where they came from in a more powerful, concrete, substantive way. And so thank you for that question, Rafaela. All right, just where do we go next? You guys are very active. This one's done. All right, Mom wants to know, how do you manage transparency and accountability from these organizations? That's a great question, Mom. I think connected to something Asheesh said earlier about the fact that once the vow is fulfilled and the donation is given, it really comes back in the normal orbit of how NGOs operate. And so if an NGO is badly run, then there'll be less accountability and less transparency.
But Yemi, your mom's trying to protect you here. Mom is trying to protect you. I think you got to take this one step further. I mean, you know, maybe over time, UPG creates a section of the website that allows everyone to see the nonprofits that have the most accountability and most transparency. There's all these rankings.
Great idea.
Which have those. So you could one day create that. When we have 10,000 organizations, I can see you want to do that, right? So you got to listen to your mom, Yemi. She's usually protecting you.
Thank you, Mom. And great idea. You can send me the invoice later. But that is a great idea. You know, we can actually, we can have almost a trust barometer as part of a profile. And it should be, you know, the score should be transparent if we do something like this. Like, how do you get a higher score? You know, that's definitely something. So thank you for that, Ashish, for connecting those dots. Andressa wants to know, when making the donation, can we make them in our country currency, or it has to be in dollars? Or does the site convert the money as it is donated? Ashish?
Great. Well, I mean, once again, the site doesn't actually accept your money. The site accepts your vow. So you could choose to donate in any currency you want at any point in time you want in the future based on some contingent event or even based on just time passing. And to fulfill that vow in your local currency, you would have to go to the website of the NGO you want to support or the local community organization you want to support and make the donation. And if they don't accept money in your local currency, then that would be a problem. But if they do accept money in your local currency, which I'm guessing most would, then it wouldn't be a problem. Most websites now are designed to accept money using PayPal or tools that allow the conversion to happen automatically. So that probably won't be a problem, both for Goodwill Vows and for you.
Great. Thank you very much, Ashish. So you can vow in any currency. You can also make a vow in any language. So you don't have to speak English to use Goodwill Vows. You can, you know, switch the language at the top of the page and make your vow in any language. Okay, I see 2 more questions here. I just want to give Rodrigo a shout out that I'll be coming to you soon, Rodrigo. So we can do that. We can do that raffle. All right, I want to take a question from Matthew because I see a first question from Matthew. Thank you, Matthew. The Giving Pledge is well known due to its connections with some of the globe's wealthiest individuals. A huge advantage given how much attention they receive. How might we reach a similar awareness with Goodwill Vows? Great question. Man, I'm such a social justice warrior. I shouldn't answer this one first. So Ashish, you want to go?
Well, I was going to say, based on Yemi's connections alone, this will lead to incredible global awareness. So that was going to be my answer. But Yemi, I don't want to put you on the spot because, you know, you clearly have a different thing in mind in the way you're going to answer this.
I want to answer this by saying, I don't know why this started, but very young in my life, I think I must have been 10 or 11. All my secondary school classmates will tell you, I had a notepad that I carried with me everywhere. It was an A5 notepad. In my notepad, while people quoted Einstein or they quoted, I don't know, Lincoln, I found the most powerful quotes from the people I knew and I met every day. I still remember many of them. They've guided my life. The people around us have so much power, so much wisdom, that my initial answer to your question, Matthew, is this is about people power. And it's good to have friends in high places. But when people talk about Goodwill Vows, that's how Goodwill Vows will get out in powerful ways. Now, that said, as Ashish said, I do know many good people who also happen to be famous. And since they are good people and they're aligned with what we're trying to do here, obviously we're sharing this with them, and we'll be sharing this with more of them now that the beta site is launched. So watch this space. We expect more good people to come in and help us make it better. And obviously, as you've pointed out, Matthew, they have more visibility, if you like, than the average person. But the core of me really would love to see this as a household name. Something that young people are doing to take their first steps in philanthropy. Something that, people who are not necessarily wealthy are doing to demonstrate that they also want to be part of this, this spirit of generosity that we need on this planet. But great question, Matthew. Thank you. All right, Rodrigo, you give me a shout when you're ready.
Okay, so we are ready. We have 6 more minutes.
Okay, so you take them. Let me just see. I'll take the last 2 questions. They look straightforward.
Okay.
All right, Mom wants to know, should we create today an association for public service to complement the UN's Day for Public Service and support Goodwill Vows? Yes, I mean, this is, you can see you see where I came from. My mom is also obsessed with action. She just likes getting things done. So yes, Mom, that can be done. But you can also argue that UPG is doing that. We are obsessed with service. We are obsessed with making sure that we help people to make the world a better place for free, and as profoundly as possible. But hey, we can take that idea forward too. So thank you for that. Amanda wants to know, are the final badges different depending on how much you vowed? Hey, maybe this is the last chance to see if Ashish can really answer every question. So Ashish?
My understanding is no. My understanding is it doesn't matter how much money you give, small or big. What matters is whether you fulfill your pledge or not. So I believe that Rodrigo and the development team are changing the color of the badge when you do fulfill your pledge, but not based on how much money you give.
Full marks. Can we get a round of applause for Ashish? He's got full marks on the test today. He has been, whoever said that, the partner or the CEO can't stand the heat in the kitchen, well, you're wrong, right? Ashish has demonstrated that he could answer every single question.
It's my team making sure that I'm aware of what's going on. So it's everyone, not just me.
All right, awesome, sharing the love. But thank you very much. Rodrigo, you get the mic. So let us know, with the last 6 minutes or 5 minutes, we have a giveaway. How do you want to run this?
So we have a giveaway. We currently have 19 people in here. So let me find 5 numbers from 1 to 19. So I will say the names. We'll write it down.
Wait. I don't understand. How are you picking people?
I'm picking with a raffle, online raffle. Yes, like, I don't know if you have the list in there, but number 1 is Shape the Word, hashtag Shape the Word. And number 19 is Welisani.
Okay. All right. So everybody got that? You all got a number that Rodrigo assigned to you. We're just going to have to trust Rodrigo, right? Is there any kind of governance mechanism in this system, Rodrigo?
Man, sorry, there isn't. It's trust-based.
All right. So we're going to have to trust you. You all have a number. Rosalind wants to know what's her number. That's a good test.
Okay, it's on alphabetical order. So Rosalind is number 16.
16. Okay. All right. So now the next phase is you're going to pick 5 numbers from 1 to 19?
Yes.
And is there any kind of transparency here? Can we, we just have to trust you?
Maybe, I cannot even record my screen right now, but...
We trust you, Rodrigo. We trust you. You can do it.
Yeah, we trust you, Rodrigo. All right. So 5 lucky people. I hope you're ready to receive your good fortune. So Rodrigo, you read out 5 names?
Number 3 is...
Wait, what's number? Oh, number 3. Okay, sorry.
Andressa.
Andressa. Congratulations, Andressa.
Okay, number 5. It is Anu from the UPG team.
I didn't even know Anu was here. Congratulations, Anu.
11, 12. Mr. Matthew Jennings.
Oh, my goodness. Matt Jennings. Way to go, Matt.
For your excellent question, Matt.
Number 15. Olukoya Salami.
Wow, Mr. Salami. Wow, I love it. Congratulations.
Olukoya. And number 16, Oluwatobi Loba, Mr. Toby from
Hey,
our
go
team.
Toby. Awesome. I love it. Very deserving. Congratulations. And so we will be in touch with you because we won't have time now, but congratulations. You have the chance to select an NGO that you love that we are now going to love because you love them. So we're going to feature them on the site for free. So not only will they be listed, but they will actually get the pride of place. They'll get the visibility that people have asked about. All thanks to you. So think wisely. We'll be in touch with you, I'm sure, in the next, how soon, Rodrigo? 24 hours?
Yeah, I believe in 24 hours by the end of today, early morning tomorrow. No problem at all. We have their emails in our SVP.
Awesome. So we have your contact. Congratulations. Think about who you're going to nominate to get this. Now, it's time for us to come to a close. Are there any final questions? Ashish, you can get ready, if you like, for closing thoughts. But if we have any final questions while we prepare to close, or any closing questions or comments? Yeah, congratulations, everyone. Rosalind, very generous. She didn't win this time. But don't worry, Rosalind, there's always tomorrow. Any final questions or thoughts? And thank you so much for being with us today. Rodrigo, any announcements we should make?
Yes, this is the global launch of the beta version. So you still need the password to access the website. And we'll be very glad with any feedback you have. You see that some pages like the vows list and the beneficiary list, it can be improved, and it will be improved as soon as possible. And on Thursday, we have a very special event, right, Yemi?
Great, thank you. That's true. Yes, on Thursday is the next opportunity to interact with Goodwill Vows. As Ashish has said, we are getting more people involved. And so we have a wonderful panelist joining us on Thursday, ranked the best coach in the world. Ashish, you want to add anything about her?
Sure. Her name is Sanyan Siang, and she's at Duke University running the Coach K Center for Leadership. She's also a passionate person who's interested in gratitude and philanthropy. So this initiative's touched her heart. So she's going to be talking about that and about, you know, all the ways in which we can make this better.
All right. So that's happening on Thursday. It's the next opportunity to interact. We predict this family is growing. And so there are people lined up already to speak next week and the week after. So that's the next chance to interact. And as Rodrigo also shared, sorry, Rodrigo, was there something else you wanted me to say? I felt like there was a cue you gave me I missed.
No, it was about the event. So people can RSVP for the event. And it will be a panel about the future of philanthropy.
Yes, it's called Shaping the Future of Philanthropy.
Yes, we have another last question if you want to check on it before we go.
Anonymous attendee. These people always scare me. How you be anonymous? Yeah. But thank you so much for not Zoom bumming us. So that's kind. All right, what are the benefits for any partner willing to participate? Any financial package is ready yet? Absolutely, yes. We have a flagship partner. But we have other packages. You don't have to be flagship. We have other packages. We don't have time now to go into it, but if you get in touch with us, if you're okay to be not anonymous and get in touch with us, we would love to share with you. Now, this is championed by UPG, so you don't have to be Bill Gates to partner us. There's an option at every single level. So please get in touch. Thank you so much. I think crucially, what I wanted to highlight is something Rodrigo said about feedback. So if you get access to the site, please give us feedback. We're learning every single day about ways that Goodwill Vows can touch lives for good. And so your feedback might be something that we haven't heard yet. Please get in touch with us. Okay, I want to also, before we close, do a big shout out to the Goodwill Vows team led by Rodrigo Nunes. Rodrigo is here. Big thank you, Rodrigo. Thank you so much from everybody. But there's a team behind Rodrigo. Maybe crucially, also want to give a big shout out to Toby. But it's always dangerous calling names because there's so many people working very hard behind the scenes. But these two gentlemen lead the team in very special ways. Rodrigo is the leader, and Toby brings a lot of the IT to make things possible. So thank you both so much. And a big thank you, of course, to the UPG team. Again, the greater UPG team is very vested. So big thanks to everybody. Big thanks also to JA Worldwide. If you want to get something done, you need good partners. And so a partner who's actually a great partner when you're writing the recipe, preparing the ingredients, cooking the meal. There are not too many partners like that. So big thank you, Ashish. This is thanks to your leadership. You definitely draw a nice line to make sure you're helping and partnering and never pushing, even though you're a very big partner in this. So respect and big thank you to you and your team, Tom especially, and Brandy, who've been leading the charge. I know there's more JA Worldwide people involved than I know. So big thanks to the JA Worldwide family. Everything I've ever done with you has been wonderful. So love that we're together in this too. All right, so closing thoughts. Ashish, you get the mic. Anything you want to share as we wrap up?
Well, I just want to say that not only is, all the people who you've thanked have been working hard on this, but there's so many people behind the scenes that take an idea and make it a reality and then make it a better reality. And I'm just so humbled to be working with people like, for example, Rodrigo, who take the kernel of an idea, check it with 50 people, and then it becomes a better idea. And that's how all great things happen. Literally, all great things in the world happen in that way. And I have every doubt that when we have users for this service, they're going to have their own ideas, like many of the people who asked questions today. So Yemi, I have so much optimism that this will be a great service for so many people. And I have so much gratitude for you and the team for being able to make this happen. So well done, everyone. We're on a journey, and it's going to be a fun ride.
Great, thank you. My closing thoughts, very brief. Like I said, it's been a privilege to be in the kitchen on this. I loved being in the kitchen even before the kitchen was established, because I was speaking with Ashish, and there's an action orientation when we discuss anything, so you know something's going to happen. So it's just a wonderful feeling to know something's going to happen, and then it happens. So love it. We've come full circle. Thank you all for being here. Your presence really shows us that we have something that's touching lives. As at noon before we went live, the early users of the site have racked up $40,000 plus in vows. And as we've mentioned already, over 100 organizations, beneficiaries registered, and the vows literally have come from all world regions. So really powerful. Please check out the site and please give us feedback. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you again as this family grows. Have a great day, and let's continue to shape the world. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.